Then the faint sounds of silent night could be heard coming from the German line. For legendsoffaith.org, I'm Rob Cutter. It was the deadliest conflict in human history. World War I claimed more than 16 million lives. It was the first modern war using tanks, airplanes, machine guns, and poison gas. It was 1914, and after only 4 months of fighting, more than 1 million men had already perished in the bloody conflict. It was a scene of devastation. Enemy troops were dug in so close they could easily exchange shouts. Life in the muck of those trenches was awful. It was cold, damp, and filled with all sorts of diseases. The distance between the opposing trenches was known as no man's land. As darkness settled over the front like a blanket, the sound of exploding shells, whistles, and cries of agony were absent on that night of Christmas Eve. Then, the faint sounds of silent night could be heard coming from the German line. In wonderment, soldiers began peeking their heads only to see Christmas trees lit with candles on the walls of the enemy trenches. Then, the English and French troops sang back, raising their voices and singing Silent Night. As morning broke, German soldiers emerged from their trenches, waving their arms and a ragged banner with the words, "Merry Christmas." When it became clear that they were not carrying weapons, British soldiers joined them, meeting in no man's land to socialize and exchange gifts. They clapped one another's shoulders. They embraced, and some had to turn their heads to hide the tears. They gave each other permission to collect and properly bury their dead. They exchanged prisoners, and then for the remainder of that miraculous night and throughout Christmas Day, they sang carols and even played a game of soccer. The Christmas Truce did not become a tradition and did not occur again throughout the course of World War I. Still, there were no court-martials or punishments linked to the events of the Christmas Truce. On that night in Bethlehem was peace and goodwill toward all men. But perhaps the biggest lesson is how the power of a unified focus on Christ can unite even bitter enemies. Some have called the Christmas Truce of 1914 the miracle on the Western Front. Although it lasted but one night and day, it was a fleeting glimpse of heaven on earth. For more stories like this and for ways to donate, visit us at legendsoffaith.org.